Okay, guys, it's already getting late, so I'm going to keep this short and sweet and to the point. As usual, I have my large external monitor up here with everything. It's just going to be my brain with my little bobblehead here. I have my camera over the side just so you don't think I'm staring off into space like some crazy person. But I've got my notes here. Just going to bang out these points real quick. This is in response to my Black Friday offer, which a bunch of people signed up for. Got those 3 free leads when they signed up for the first 10, which is great. Some people got in the next day for the 2. Nobody bothered with the 1, which was expected, but it doesn't matter. It's beside the point. This is in response to some feedback I got to a lot of the leads that respond on why they didn't pull the trigger and get signed up yet, either in the past or on this promotion. So we're going to address that right now. And this is for Cyber Monday. I know it's already late tonight, but I'm going to get this banged out, distributed through my YouTube channel, and sent out to the email list to the leads that didn't sign up yet. I'll honor it till tomorrow, Tuesday at midnight. If anybody wants to get on board still. It's buy 5. Again, we'll get into why 5 versus 10 like before. Buy 5, get 1 for free, and the details on that, as well as some other items. Just addressing concerns and answering questions here, so bear with me. And again, I'm going to try to make this, I'm going to read off my notes here, of course. I'm going to try to make it quick and to the point and not overly boring. But and as far as leads, as always, are only strictly defined by being a live phone call direct with the local homeowner that's in immediate need of the specific restoration service that you have to offer. Period. Full stop. I'm not selling bullshit stale form subs or junk voicemails you have to call back. You know, I know what a lot of you guys are used to getting, like voicemails or form submits. You're rushing to call these homeowners back, hoping you get, you're first in line versus, your competitor that had already called in and landed the job. It's not possible with leads I send because I don't share leads. I don't send leads to multiple people at the same time. They're always 100% exclusive, 100% real time. I just don't do it. Share leads is a bullshit way to do business, in my opinion. It's gross. It's unethical. It's just a horrible way to do lead gen. Exclusive is the only thing that makes sense to me. That's all I do. So again, it's 100% exclusive, live direct calls, period. And again, those calls are with the actual local homeowner in your service area. You shouldn't have to clarify that, but I know from a lot of these other guys, you're getting out of area calls or for nonsense services that you don't do. Those calls will be the actual local homeowner that's in your service area that's looking for the exact specific restoration services that you're offering. Nothing unrelated. You're not going to get roofing jobs or general remodel jobs or getting some asshole calling you about pressure washing their walkway or whatever. I hear all sorts of stuff when I ask people what kind of leads they're getting from other providers. It's nuts. I don't see why you guys bother with them, but and anyway, moving on. I digress. Let's see here. And of course, if you're one of those guys that only does bio or mold, I consider you kind of oddball guys in a good way, but most guys are doing main water mitt. If you're only doing bio or mold, of course, that's what I'll send you. But otherwise, what I'm offering here is a primary water mitt call since they're the most valuable. Again, it's whatever you want, but it just makes the most sense, the most value I can offer you if you handle all those calls. Addressing concerns. And I'm going to make this disclaimer once right here to cover everything else I say throughout the rest of the video. Please keep that in mind. I'm really a respectful, kind person, but I'm going to be pretty blunt here, pretty direct. It's just going to be real talk. We're talking business. We're talking money. We're talking real leads here. As far as we're going to cover a couple of things to assuage concerns, answer questions here. Just notice the really clear distinction between whether it's me or anybody else, and I've yet to find anybody else who asked for this versus I'm getting a little jumbled here. Let me rephrase that. Notice the very clear distinction between asking for a deposit to pay for a few leads up front and asking for a setup fee. The deposit you get back in leads, and we'll get to the guarantee and how there's no risk for you whatsoever at all in any way, shape, or form in a second. But the setup fee, and again, I'm doing air quotes here, the phrase itself really pisses me off. Most companies are going to ask you for $3 to $5 grand at least up front for a setup fee that you're never going to get back. They absorb that. They use that to set up, websites, content, all that stuff. Valid costs that they have, may or may not have, depending on what they're doing, how well they're structured. My setup costs, I have similar setup costs for stuff, but mine are, number one, they're lower because I'm really good at what I do. I have templates and SOPs and processes for processes on top of processes. and I've been doing lead gen for restoration companies specifically for so long. It's just all very streamlined. It's all, templates, processes, like I said. So there's minimal setup fees, but the setup fees, the cost that I do have, I would rather give that back to you as the client in leads versus just have you absorb that and take the hit. For me, it just makes more sense. It helps people get signed up. It's less of a barrier of entry for me. I'm thinking big picture. I don't give a shit about, $3,000 or more or less, whatever it happens to be, depending on how many leads we're talking about here, compared to a lifetime value of getting a client on board, a good client on board, which we'll get into as well. Okay, that's the distinction between a setup fee, which you never get back, and a deposit. Do I need the capital to fund the project? No. It's nice to have a project at least partially paid for, if not completely paid for, up front. Again, circling back to templates and processes and minimal costs on my end, and why they're minimal compared to other guys, because I'm really good at what I do and I'm really focused on restoration. Templates, processes, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, for large metros, quite frankly, it'll cost me more out of pocket than $3,000 to set up a campaign before it starts generating leads. And then it's an entire month plus another week before I see first return on that. Why it's a month plus? I send calls all month. Don't charge you. I'm not charging for every 5 leads or 10 leads or whatever these other idiots are doing. Every few days or every week or whatever your first budget or deposit runs out or whatever. That's horseshit to me and just so inefficient, and it wastes time. I send you calls all month. We're basically, we have an agreement in place. I'm not going to say it's on honor system because it's not, but I'm sending you valid calls all month. At the end of the month, I go over the calls, send your preliminary invoice. You have a full week to go over that invoice. Go over any invalid calls, dispute any invalid leads, which are going to be genuinely minimal, if at all, because of the way we generate leads and the way I filter leads. I'm using I and we interchangeable here, but it's mostly me and just a small little team of subcontractors that I use. But again, it circles back to templates and processes and just getting shit done and knowing what you're doing. But yeah, I'll send you calls all month. At the end of the month, send that first invoice. You have a full week to look it over, no hassle. You have genuinely invalid leads. I'll go over the recording, take it off, no argument, no problem. You're never going to pay for a lead you don't want to pay for, with a smile for that matter. And for that matter, we're talking about the whole month, but you can pause or quit receiving more calls for whatever reason, anytime, day or night, 24/7, 365. So you're not just going to get slammed with calls and forced calls that I'm going to try to force you to pay for. Pause or quit anytime, literally. No penalty, no nothing. More than that, I'm not doing more admin work than it necessary, and you shouldn't want to either. More than once a month is just micromanaging nonsense, in my opinion. Moving on. Another concern about putting up a deposit or working with me in general, regardless, you don't know me. That's one of the reasons why I've been cranking out a lot of YouTube videos with me on camera lately. My big bobblehead here. Sometimes I have shitty lighting here late at night when I'm working. I'm looking through for a better camera and audio system to crank it up now that I'm doing this quite frequently. But in the meantime, I just like to put a face with the name. Versus just some anonymous text email. I love typing. I'm a search engine geek. I'm a computer nerd. I'm not much of a people person, so this is not my thing, but I'm working on it for obvious reasons. But, I can type as fast as I can talk, basically. So that's primary for me, but I like doing video communication. I like getting on phone calls to a degree, just to touch base with people. I'm always trying to schedule a phone call or a video chat that makes you more comfortable. So unless you think I'm some sort of master manipulator or total psycho liar, I really don't know what to tell you. And let's see, to really drive home the point as far as trust, I work from a home office, which I'm always very transparent about on my website and in my videos and on phone calls. My physical office address, which is my home, is always listed in my email signature according to CAN spam laws as far as that goes. And it's always displayed on my company website. So there's that. If nothing else, you can always show up and just punch me in the face for being a dick. I wouldn't suggest I'm probably bigger and stronger than you are in real life, but not the point. Moving on. There's the agreement. And I always have this on my website. I always send this to people to view before moving on. The agreement is very straightforward. It's very short. It's very to the point. There's no bullshit legalese. There's no fine print. Takes like 60 seconds to look over. There's there's nothing more to it than just the basics, just to make it very clear as far as what we define as a lead. Billing, goes over the deposit, guarantee. Again, how we define a lead, that's always very, very, very clear. We went over it at the beginning of the video, but yeah, let's just go over that in real time. Okay, we're just gonna go over a reel. I basically just sent this to myself to go over so I don't have to bother blurring out client information on a real one. But yeah, this is what it'll look like coming in your email. I send it through DocuSign, which is legally binding online notary service, basically. You just click the link. This is what it'll look like coming in. If you're on desktop, it'll probably look a little different coming in. When you click that link, this will bring this up here, and you'll see, please review the documents. You just click continue. You're okay for digital signing. This will load. It pops up like this. Receive real-time lead gen exclusive phone leads agreement. Agreement is made on it. It'll auto-populate the date, and you just fill in your name, company name, and here it's just an agreement between you as the client, me as the consultant, and your company address, phone number. That's where the leads, the calls will get sent to, unless you specify differently down here. And we can always route them to multiple numbers, round robin, or all at the same time, however you want it, depending on who you have in the field or back to the office or your personal cell or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all totally customizable. You fill in your email, of course. That's where lead reports and invoices are sent to. And you come down here, you check whichever specific leads you do want, leave the ones you don't want obviously unchecked. Your primary water mit, storm damage, fire damage, mold remediation, biohazard. And just to clarify, if you do or do not handle large losses, there's no wrong answer. We just need to know how to funnel calls. If you can't handle those, we'll filter and send them to somebody else who can. No problem. And then this will expand as you type, so don't worry about the little box. But you just either fill in, if you're just a single city company right now, or multiple city, if that's how you frame it, you fill in your city and state and your maximum service radius in miles and or full counties along with the state. Because there's some counties that are named the same, different states. So just to clarify, make it easier on us. And then here, it's just real simple. Like, again, there's no bullshit legalese. There's nothing really to, there's no fine print, nothing. It just goes over, we're generating leads. We take on all the costs of marketing and creatives and syndication of videos, websites, lead gen assets, all that stuff. Clarify that we do record calls and why. This is for your benefit as much as it is for mine, and as well as the homeowner's benefit. Of course, there's a legal disclaimer. It's all basic stuff. There's a reason for everything, good reason for everything. It just helps us generate more quality leads. And if there's a problem with missed calls or call flow on your end, we can see that and address that quickly before it turns into a problem. Definition of a valid lead, we already went over. We used to have this set at 30, which is more than enough to filter out spam and telemarketers. We upped it to 90 just for new client acquisition, lower barrier entry. Again, you're going to love the leads we sent you, or you don't pay for them. There's no hassle here. Goes over billing and payment, cost per lead, primary water mit, storm damage, fire damage at 300 apiece. Just remember how the leads are clarified, or defined rather. They're quality leads. They're live calls with the homeowner who needs your specific help. They're not junk form submission, other nonsense people are selling for $50 or $90 or whatever the hell. More remediation, 150 bios or 200. This goes over the deposit. Why we ask for it. 10 leads up front, $3,000, $300 a pop. Said leads will be delivered within 90 days from the start of this agreement, or consultant will refund said deposit in full. And there's no service charge, there's no percentage taken out, there's no restocking fee or setup fee or any other nonsense. You get every last penny back. And if you're thinking, and furthermore, as the campaign does become successful, it takes us longer than 90 days because you have stronger competition in a large metro. It takes us longer than 90 days. Once we start generating leads, 90-day mark passes, we automatically give back the deposit. No questions asked. You don't have to ask us for it. It'll just happen automatically. But then we'll give you, once the campaign starts generating leads, those first 3 leads will be free. So there's $900 in your pocket. No problem. Do not ask us to take PayPal. I will not work with those. I don't want to say this online and get sued or something, but I consider them unethical crooks. I don't use them anymore, even if they didn't charge 3%, take 3% every month. Google Pay is free. PayPal is constantly getting hacked. Bank account information is constantly getting exposed through them. It'll happen again. I'm not messing with them anymore. They're constantly freezing large sums of money of mine for no reason, for long periods of time. It's just horseshit. Yeah, they're easy. They're popular. I get it. But they are, in my opinion, a horseshit service. Google Pay is way more secure. way more secure than PayPal, that's for sure. I would consider them more secure than my bank even. And this circles back to the guarantee and easing your mind. Let's say, devil's advocate, this isn't the reality, but devil's advocate, we get to the 90-day point, I don't want to give back your deposit. 30 seconds to email Google Pay telling them that you haven't received your leads, boom, they give you back your money whether I want them to or not. Then they'll contact me and I'll have to prove that I sent you those leads that you paid me for, which I obviously won't be able to do. It's a moot point. So if you're on the fence and don't want to pull the trigger because of that, it's a non-issue. You have the agreement in place, legally binding both ends. Even if you did not have the agreement in place, I'm telling you, and ask them yourself, send them an email tomorrow. It'll take 30 seconds, maybe a minute, to email their customer support and say, hey, this dickhead ripped me off for, $3,000 or $1,500, whatever you end up getting a deposit for, depending on the offer. Boom, they send you that back, and then it's on me to recover my money, which I won't be able to do. Fair enough? Moving on. It just goes over basic stuff. You can see you can pause, quit for any reason or any length of time. 24/7, 365 days a year. Again, that's to, we're not just going to slam you with calls that you can't fulfill on because you're maxed out on work and then ask you to pay for them. That doesn't make sense. We'll send it to a secondary client, or if worst comes to worst, and I don't have a local guy on hand, I have a lead broker that'll take them all day, every day, who distributes them to, I'm guessing, well, I don't want to mention names, but, the big guys. But I get paid far less for that, so that's not what I want to do. Yeah, there's really nothing more to that. Okay, moving on. I'm going to cover a couple more points, and that'll be it for this video. Should answer all questions, calm down all concerns and whatnot. So to reiterate, as far as money, the agreement, guarantees, and all that, deposits, number one, it's not a lot of money, period. Again, circle back to that disclaimer. I'm not saying I want to lose $3,000 or $1,500 depending on the offer we're talking about here. We're going to stick with $3,000 because that's generally what we're talking about for 10 leads for a deposit on new clients. It's not a lot of money. It's, not even one job's worth of cash. Again, disclaimer, no offense, nothing personal. If we're worried about $3,000, you need my service more than anybody. Generate some real money. But again, moving on. Number two, you have the agreement legally protecting you. And I'm going to preemptively address another concern. You think, oh, do I have to waste time and money hiring a lawyer to chase this guy down and recover my guarantee and blah, blah, blah. No, I'm telling you. Email yourself tomorrow. Check it out. 30-second email to customer support at Google Pay, which is part of the reason why I use them. Buyer protection. Your peace of mind. They'll send you your money back whether I want them to or not. It's a non-issue. Moving on. Why 10 leads? Circles back to setup costs, and again, I'm not doing bullshit setup fees that I just absorb, or you have to absorb and take the hit on. You eat. 10 leads is a good number to gauge conversions and effectiveness as well for both parties. I want to know, it's just a good number to get percentages on as far as if I'm sending you leads, do you answer your phone, number one? And if you do answer your phone, are you, quite frankly, answering your phone like a dipshit and turning the person off and being a grump or being a jerk? Or, you're going to know your business. I'm not arguing that, but you don't have to be, a super salesman. But if you're not willing to adjust your call flow, if you're turning customers off and losing jobs, if we go over call recordings and I see it's on you and you're not willing to change, you're done. I'll just fully refund anything that's in process and fire you. It won't matter. But yeah, circling back to Y10 as far as costs go, that's a good average for me as far as, and it'll depend on population, how much juice I have to pump into something to get something positioned and generating leads. That's a good, it's just a good, like I said, I don't need the capital starter project by any means, but it's nice for a project to at least partially pay for itself on setup, considering I'm not going to see a return for at least 5 weeks. And if I'm taking on a bunch of projects at the same time, But again, 10 is a good number to send you. If I'm looking at missed calls and problems with that, we're going to end the project early. I'm going to wish you well, no hard feelings, but I'm going to refund every penny. I'm going to put you on my blacklist and never send leads to again, and I'm just going to move on to somebody else. If you're not handling the calls right, I'll put it this way. I don't stand for missed calls. There's no such thing as a missed call here. I am not sending calls to voicemails. I am not waiting for people to be called back. You know, if somebody comes in and their freaking house is flooded, they're not going to leave you a voicemail and sit there in a foot of water waiting for you to call them back. That's a lost lead. That's a lost job. It's money out of your pocket and it's money out of my pocket. It's not happening. Answer your phone. Answer it right. Let's see. And yeah, as far as, gotta grab a sip of water, right? I'm getting hoarse here. Shot a lot of videos today, people. Yeah, as far as the deposit is a filter as well. If I start sending leads to people, and again, back to the disclaimer, not to beat a dead horse here, but if I start sending leads to people who are quite frankly broke and bootstrapping it, God bless them. I've been there. I've been bootstrapping like a motherfucker. I've been broke as a motherfucker in the past. I get it. I feel for you. It's not where I'm at now. It's not who I'm going after as clients. If I'm sending leads to broke people, bear with me. They don't have enough staff. The staff they do have shows up in a pair of jorts and a ratty t-shirt, some rusty old truck with like 2 pieces of junk equipment. They're going to come in here for this water mitt job. They're going to do a shitty job. The homeowner is going to be understandably pissed. Once that shitty crew is gone, the homeowner is going to go on to Google. They're going to find my lead gen assets that I use to generate those leads to send you. Them, let's say, not you. Again, it's not a personal attack. This has happened. They're going to go on Google. They're going to all those homeowners that get the shitty work done are going to leave me shitty reviews on Google. Then those assets are burned. Depending on the metro, it costs me a good chunk of time and money to set those assets up. They're valid assets that last a long time when done right. That's how I do them. They start getting negative reviews, they're screwed. That time and money is gone. So that's another way of me filtering out tire kickers, time wasters, and quite frankly, just broke dipshits that don't have their shit together, who are going to cock up the job, not get it done right, and cause those problems I just went over. Takes money out of my pocket, food off my table. No thank you. So think about it that way. Plus, people, and I found this, I've been a marketer my entire adult life. People can argue this all they want, but people do not value what they do not have skin in the game for. If I just agree to start sending leads to somebody, before those leads start being generated, if I need information for the creatives I need to create for the videos or the websites or the call flow setup or the IVR or whatever, somebody doesn't have money in the game, I might not get a response through email or a phone call for days or weeks or whatever, because they don't give a shit. There's no risk on them. They're not waiting on anything. I am. It's all on me. Somebody has a couple grand in, which again isn't a big deal, but that gets that psychological trigger. I get that freaking call back. I get that email back quick to move things forward. That's why. And something else. You think, why bother doing free leads at all? Why take a loss on it? Why would I give away 3 leads or 1 lead or any amount of leads? I don't see it as a loss. Quite the contrary. It's just cost of new client acquisition. Let's say it's 3 leads, $300 a pop, $900. I will spend 3 figures all day long if it makes me over a lifetime of clients 6 or even 7 figures, for water mitt stuff. We're looking at not just years but decades, a lifetime relationship, which is what I'm after here. Yeah, again, somebody says $900 for 6 or 7 figures lifetime. I'll do that as many times a day as possible, all day, every day, forever. Just makes sense. So it's not a waste of money. It's not it shouldn't be seen as any sort of a desperate move or I need this client. I'm going to give away free leads and free money and hope for the best. No, it just makes sense. Get them off the fence, up front, a lifetime of value. Doesn't matter. Don't give a shit about $900. I think that was about it. Yeah, I guess some other quick points to go over here as far as terms in the agreement and timeframes on lead gen, start a project. It's always set at the max of 90 days, but just to clarify and be perfectly real, that's for initial project setup. That's max range, whether it's 2 days or 90 days. That's to set up a totally new project in a new area. If it takes that long, however long it takes is how long it takes, depending on the competition and the size of the metro. It depends. Once that's established, It's just consistent lead flow from then on perpetuity. So there's that. In all reality, like I said, unless you're in a super huge metro that has existing competition that's strong, we generally start generating leads within the first 30 days of the project. Sometimes, small towns, if you're in like a 10 to 50K population town, it's probably within the first week or two, month max. We're doing a lot of, to kick things off while we work on the main G&B website and the primary money site assets, we're doing a ton of immediate, and I do mean like same day syndication of YouTube video assets, which can generate leads real quick, because it goes back to Google loving Google in my previous video, why they rank so well and so quickly. We're also doing a lot of press release marketing immediately. That takes about a week turnaround time as far as them being written and then getting in the queue with our service that we use for syndication. But a week or less, then they get good placement as well real quick for restoration trims locally. And then after that, we're just waiting on the main assets to catch up. Yeah. I mean, just to be clear, I'm not doing pay-per-click, so it's not like I'm turning on an ad that second, and that's why I make the time frames I do. If I was doing pay-per-click, good God, I wouldn't be selling leads for $300. Usually it costs that per click just to get a click. That's not a lead of any sort, let alone a good lead, let alone a job. So it's just a moot point and ridiculous. And again, I don't mean this to be a jerk. I'm going to be perfectly blunt here. I'm not a jerk, but overall, this is like what's the expression? Rising tide raises all boats. The more money I make selling good leads, and that's the only way I make money. Selling good leads, I make money when we make money, period. The more money I make, the more money I sink back in my business, better content, more content writers, just better tech overall. I'm not going to get into the SEO bullshit and bore you and have your guys glaze over. It's not what I'm selling anyway. I'm not selling information. I'm selling results here. I'm always scaling, expanding, and this will sound maybe big britches of me, but considering it's all I do, restoration marketing is lead gen is all I do, period, full stop. I'm just going to keep on going. I will be in your city eventually. Absolutely. Doesn't matter what state you're in, doesn't matter where you're at. I'm just going to keep duplicating out city after city until I cover everywhere. This is all I'm doing. This is my only business here. This is everything for me. And it's always 100% exclusive work. So if it's a small town or city, I only need one company to handle capacity. It's no big deal. For larger metros, I'll get one primary client. Again, it's always exclusive. I'll get one primary client for large metros, then I'll get one or two, depending on the population, to handle that overflow. Initial client can only handle so much. There might be an overflow that I don't want to lose money on, so I'll send them to a secondary or tertiary client, while the primary client can catch up with more staff, training, equipment, etc. to compensate and start taking those initial leads again. That's how I balance that out. And again, I don't mean to sound like a dick, but if you rest on your laurels, and I will be in your city eventually, I will take your fucking lunch. So, yeah, there's that. Get on board. Work with somebody that can actually generate good leads. We'll work with you. I'm looking for a lifetime relationship here. Again, you quit any time for any reason. You decide to quit the business. You want to go on a permanent vacation. You retire. You want to change industries, whatever. It doesn't matter. Quit. There's no penalty. There's no bullshit contract you're roped into. Nothing. Just selling live restoration leads. I'm doing it all day long. Get it done. Give me a call.